Welcome dear children, and in today's class, in today's video, we will talk about the mechanism of urine formation. When we talk about the mechanism of urine formation or how is urine formed, it includes three particular processes, right? The first process is known as ultrafiltration. So the first process is ultrafiltration, then the second is selective reabsorption, and the third is tubular secretion. Right, so these are the three processes by which urine is formed. Coming to the first part, that is ultrafiltration. How does the urine formation start? It starts with ultrafiltration. As you've already studied the structure of the nephron, we know that the nephron is made up of the Malpighian corpuscle, which consists of the Bowman's capsule and glomerulus, and the Malpighian corpuscle further continues into the renal tubule, which is divided into the proximal convoluted tubule, the loop of Henle, and the distal convoluted tubule. And then we've talked about the afferent and efferent arterioles. You can see here the afferent and the efferent arterioles. We have discussed about the vasa recta, the peritubular network of blood capillaries, right? So if you see the efferent arteriole, it continues along with the renal tubule into, it's very close to it, it forms the peritubular network of capillaries, and lower down it forms the vasa recta, right? So starting with the first step of urine formation, which is glomerular filtration. Now glomerular filtration, also known as ultrafiltration. So kidney filters equivalent amount of blood volume every 4 to 5 minutes. Now this is around 1300 ml of blood passes per minute through the kidney. The glomerular capillaries, if we look at the capillaries of the glomerulus, here this is the tuft of capillaries, here this region is the glomerulus. The glomerular capillaries are narrower than the afferent renal arterioles, right? So even if we look at the structure here, this is the afferent arteriole. You can see the afferent arteriole is broader as compared to the glomerular capillaries, right? So the blood that passes in the glomerular capillaries is under very high pressure. So there's continuous process of ultrafiltration that takes place over here. That is filtration under very high pressure. Now this happens through the semi-permeable glomerular capillaries. So the capillaries of the glomerular is semi-permeable in nature. So water and many dissolved substances from the blood are filtered into the lumen of the Bowman's capsule. So this is the Bowman's capsule. So all the things get filtered into the Bowman's capsule, right? So basically what gets filtered, it is water and many dissolved substances from the blood. They're filtered into the Bowman's capsule through its walls, right? Now what enters into the renal tubule is known as the glomerular filtrate. What does this glomerular filtrate contain? It contains a large amount of water, then it contains other dissolved substances. What are these dissolved substances? They are urea, right? Uric acid, creatinine, amino acid, glucose, sodium, potassium, vitamins, many things are there, right? The blood after ultrafiltration, you will see the next blood capillary that exits, the nephron is the efferent arteriole. So after the filtration, the rest of the blood, it flows into the efferent renal arteriole. So the glomerular filtrate and blood plasma are similar, except that glomerular filtrate do not have proteins and fats because they are bigger molecules. So the filtrate, the things that flow into the renal tubule, they do not have proteins and fats. about 15 to 25% of water and solutes are removed from the blood plasma that flows through the glomerulus. Right. So, the quantity of glomerular filtrate formed each minute in all nephrons of both the kidneys is called the glomerular filtration rate, and in a normal healthy person the glomerular filtration rate is around 125 ml per minute. Right. So, that is what is glomerular filtration or ultrafiltration. The next part of the urine formation after ultrafiltration has taken place is tubular reabsorption. So, the next thing is tubular means in the tube, reabsorption, right, tubular reabsorption. Now, from the Bowman's capsule, the glomerular filtrate, we know it enters the renal tubule. So, what is the first part of the renal tubule? It is this proximal convoluted tubule. So, absorption of selected materials takes place from the filtrate into the blood capillaries. What are the blood capillaries that are found near the proximal convoluted tubule? It is these blood capillaries which are known as the peritubular network of blood capillaries. So, what happens here? Absorption of selected material takes place from the filtrate into the blood capillaries or even the vasa recta, right. So, what happens is there may be many useful things that have been filtered which is required by the body, and that becomes a part of the glomerular filtrate. So, those useful things they move from the proximal convoluted tubule by the method of diffusion. They enter into the blood capillaries. This is known as tubular reabsorption, right. Reabsorption involves both passive and active transport. Active energy is required across the epithelium of the tube, right. The the glomerular filtrate in the Bowman's capsule, as I already told you, it resembles the blood plasma in composition, except that plasma proteins and fats are not present, right. So, in the proximal convoluted tubule, there are about 65% of the glomerular filtrate is normally reabsorbed, right, in the proximal convoluted tubule before reaching the loop of Henle. So, glucose, amino acid, vitamins, hormones, sodium, potassium chlorides, phosphates, bicarbonates, and much of water and some urea from the filtrate are absorbed by the blood in the peritubular network of capillaries or the vasa recta, right. What is not reabsorbed, what still remains in the filtrate are sulfates and creatinine, right. They are not reabsorbed, right. So, that happens. Now, in the descending loop of Henle, as the filtrate flows in it, water is reabsorbed, right. From here what happens, this region is the descending loop of Henle. From here what goes into the blood capillary is water, right. So, water is reabsorbed due to increasing osmolality of the interstitial fluid. Sodium and other solutes are not reabsorbed here, right. So, here the filtrate becomes hypertonic. Water is removed, more of sodium and other solutes are there in the filtrate. So, that becomes hypertonic to blood plasma. Then comes the ascending loop of Henle. In this region what happens is it is impermeable to water, right. So, the water cannot move out into the blood capillaries in this region, but potassium ions, chloride ions, sodium ions, and partially permeable to urea, right. So, this moves out. So, in the thick ascending loop of Henle, sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium chloride are reabsorbed. So, that enters the blood capillaries here. So, then the filtrate becomes hypotonic to blood plasma, right. All these things are removed from there. Then comes the distal convoluted tubule. This is the region of the distal convoluted tubule. Here active reabsorption of sodium ions from the filtrate under the influence of the hormone that is secreted by the adrenal cortex, right, aldosterone, right. So, this takes place, and with association of excretion of potassium and hydrogen ions, some chloride ions are also reabsorbed. Water is reabsorbed here under the influence of antidiuretic hormone, right, which is secreted by the posterior lobe of pituitary gland. So, this makes the filtrate isotonic to blood plasma, right. Then comes the collecting duct, right. in the collecting duct from the distal convoluted tubule, what enters is the filtrate enters into the collecting duct, where further reabsorption, more water is reabsorbed in this region, right, and this again makes the filtrate hypertonic to blood. The entire duct is permeable to water, so that means in this entire region water can be reabsorbed, and that enters the body through the blood capillaries, right. And now what reaches at the end of the collecting duct is urine that is formed, right. So then the filtrate is known as urine, and urine is hypertonic to blood plasma, right. So that was the second function. The third part of urine formation is tubular secretion, right, tubular secretion, right. What happens in this? The cells of the renal tubule not only remove substances from the filtrate by the process of reabsorption and send them to the blood capillaries, but also excrete additional waste from the bloodstream into the filtrate. What happens is when the ultrafiltration takes place in the glomerulus, there are chances that certain things which are not required by the body escape getting filtered and entering into the renal tubule. They may flow, they may remain in the blood, right, but body does not require it, so that needs to be removed, right. So that is removed by the process called tubular secretion, which is just the opposite to tubular reabsorption. Like creatinine, there are certain pigments, some drugs, right, medicines, they are actively secreted into the filtrate from the blood. Now this comes into the filtrate because these are things that are not required. Example, what are the examples I told you? Creatinine, right. Creatinine is very dangerous, right. There are certain drugs, medicines when we eat, so the body does not require this. This has to be removed from. So if it is not filtered and it is still flowing in the blood capillaries, then from the blood capillary by the method of diffusion it enters into the renal tubule, and this is what is simply tubular secretion. Urea enters the filtrate by diffusion in the thin segment of ascending loop in this region. If there is any urea there in the blood, it may go back into the filtrate, right. Potassium, hydrogen ions, ammonia, etc., right, in the distal convoluted tubule, that is secreted back. So tubular secretion, probably it plays a minor role in the function of human kidneys, but we would say in animals like marine fishes, desert amphibians, whose nephrons do not possess developed glomeruli, their urine is formed mainly by tubular secretion of urea, creatinine and mineral ions, right. So that's about the mechanism of urine formation.